and welcome to this edition of Joy in Our Town. I'm Ferrell, Tata, your host, and I'm delighted to welcome my guest today, Kristen Hatfield. Kristen is with the American Red Cross, the Mid-Atlantic Blood Services, and our issue today is health, and we are going to be talking about blood donations. Welcome to the program, Kristen.
Thanks for having me.
So before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about the coverage area for the Mid-Atlantic region? What does that entail?
The Mid-Atlantic region is Central Virginia through Richmond, Harrisonburg, down through Hampton Roads, and then also through a little corner of eastern North Carolina.
And so what you do is you handle the blood donations, and could you tell us a little bit about the blood donation process?
Sure. When you decide you want to come and donate, there are a couple things you can do. We always welcome our walk-ins, which means you can just show up at any blood drive, or you can call ahead of time, make an appointment. So you're going to show up at the blood drive, you're going to register, you're going to sign, you're going to fill out just kind of sign up, and you're going to get a booklet. You're going to read the booklet. We're going to do a mini health history and a mini physical, and then you're going to move on to the blood donation process where the needle's in your arm. It's only about 6 to 12 minutes, and then you're going to wrap up at Canteen and enjoy some delicious Keebler cookies and some ice cold water.
So now why is this seems to be a very tough time of the year to collect blood. Why is that?
You'll hear me kind of yelling, help, help, you know, come out and donate blood. More so, you're going to see me making that request in the summer months and in the winter time. And the summer is just a really difficult time of year for blood collections. Up to 20% of our donor base is made up of high school and college students. So when they take that winter break or that summer break, we feel that loss, and they're not coming out to blood drives. It's not as convenient right at the school. You have more holidays, and when there's a holiday week, a lot of times, and a holiday, a lot of businesses can't run a blood drive because they have fewer employees or they may be closed. And you know, our regular donors are vacationing as well. So all that, you know, and then you've got extreme temperatures. You know, sometimes we have hurricanes, and you know, that sort of thing. So all of that kind of impacts blood supply.
So is the need for blood, is it kind of consistent throughout the year, or and how much blood do you need on a regular basis?
You know, the thing about blood is you can't predict how much someone's going to need, or, you know, the average transfusion is about 3 pints, but it is, you know, every day we need to collect blood, and blood is perishable, has a shelf life of 42 days, so we're constantly, you know, needing to collect that blood, but, you know, you never know how much someone is going to need.
So after 42 days, do they just have to dispose of the blood that they weren't able to use, or is there something else they can use with it?
Well, right now, we're quickly, as soon as it's kind of coming in, it's going off the shelves, and there are certain blood types that are, you know, in high demand.
Now, can you talk about some of the types of people what kind of people need blood? Who needs blood?
Premature infants need blood. Oftentimes, they're born with about a cup of blood. So a lot of times when they're born really early, they need to have a lot of tests. So when that happens, they need that blood replenished oftentimes. People with sickle cell anemia often need blood when they're having a sickle cell crisis. People with cancer and leukemia often need some type of blood product, whether it's blood or platelets. Accident victims, routine surgery patients often need blood. I can't tell you the number of people that have told me that when they've had their child that they've needed blood. So it's just so much more common than people realize, and it's not just accident victims, but it's much more widely spread.
Now, if somebody knows that they're going to get surgery, are they allowed to donate their own blood to be used, and do you help with that?
Yes, it's called an autologous donation, and if someone is interested in that, there's a certain process, and you can call, you know, the 1-800 Red Cross to get more information and hook up and find out the process. But you know, you go through your doctor as well, but you can kind of bank it ahead of time or have people donate for you.
And what is how old do you have to be to donate blood?
You have to be 17 years of age, but you can donate at 16 with parental consent. And that wasn't always the case. That several years ago, the laws had changed in the state of Virginia and North Carolina to now include 16-year-olds. And we're thrilled because they're great donors.
And what about an upper age limit? Can you?
That's a great question. We do not have an upper age limit. Yay. We have donors in their 90s that come out and donate blood. Yes, a couple summers ago, we had a gentleman in North Carolina. I think he was 93, made his first blood donation. It just never occurred to him. It was never convenient, I guess. And he came out, and it was easy. And but yes, you know, most of our donors, they just they come out, and they're, you know, as long as they're not deferred, some of them are lifelong donors.
So when you mentioned deferred. What would defer a blood donor?
Our primary deferral is for iron levels, and your iron levels change every day. You know, I just encourage people, like, before you're going to come out and donate, a few days beforehand, stock up on iron-rich foods like green leafy vegetables, lean cuts of meat, berries, nuts. We have a whole list on our website that's dedicated just to iron, but that's one deferral. There are certain places people have traveled, and again, they can just call the number ahead of time. And I always tell people, if you've been deferred, the criteria changes all the time. FDA, you know, mandates, you know, who can donate blood. You know, the blood supply is the safest it's ever been. And if you have ever been deferred, I always say, come back and, you know, check it out and see if you really still are deferred. A primary example would be tattoos. Used to be a deferral of a year when you had a tattoo, and now if you've had a tattoo in a licensed facility, same thing with a piercing in the state of Virginia or North Carolina, there is not a deferral. So it just, you know, if you're thinking, I think I've been deferred before, you know, call us and find out.
Well, and also probably, you know, urban legend, like people hear that you can't give blood if you've had a tattoo, but they don't realize that that's changed. So now, first of all, do you have an example, or has there been a time when somebody's come in to donate blood and then that's how they found out that they were iron deficient?
I think that does happen. I think that people will come in and they'll find out that their iron isn't the level that needs to donate, but your iron levels change every day, so we give you literature on, hey, you know, here's when you can try again to donate. So. And
what about somebody who wants to donate, but they don't know what type of blood they have? Can you tell them that, or do they have to find out ahead of time?
And you know, it's funny because a lot of people don't know their blood type. And if you come out and donate at a Red Cross blood drive, a few weeks after you donate, we're going to send you a card in the mail, and it'll have your blood type on it. So I think it's really important to know your blood type, and it's a great way to get that test and to find out and to help save a life.
Well, and speaking of that, can you talk about what are the different blood types, and also are there certain blood types that are in more demand than others?
There are 8 primary blood types. There's O positive, O negative, A positive, A negative, AB positive, AB negative, B positive, and B negative. And O negative is the only blood type that can be given to anyone regardless of your blood type. So that is a universal donor that makes up about 9% of the population, and we can all receive it. So I feel like O negative, you're born to be a blood donor. O positive can go to anyone of a positive blood type. But right now, you know, we're asking all blood types to come out and donate, but particularly if you're that O negative, B negative, A negative, we need you to come out and roll up a sleeve.
Now, you talk about the need. Can you address sort of the need nationally versus the need in the Mid-Atlantic region?
Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood, and in the Mid-Atlantic region, we operate blood drives 7 days a week with the exception of 3 major holidays. So we're constantly trying to replenish the blood supply. And in the Mid-Atlantic region, we need to collect about 500 to 600 pints of blood every single day, but across the country, every 2 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood. So, I mean, it's constant. If you think about all the people in the time that we've just been talking, it's huge.
So, and you call your donors heroes. What is that, and what is a universal hero?
Universal hero is someone that has those universal qualities where they can go to more people. So that O negative, universal hero. O negative can go to any of us. So they're the universal hero. And I kind of put O positive in that category as well because it can go to anyone with a positive blood type. But we frequently call our donors heroes because I think it's a well-deserved title because too few people do it. And, you know, I think very few times in life do you get that opportunity to rescue, that cat from the tree or help save someone from a fire. But when you donate blood, you have that opportunity to help save a life. Every donation can help save up to 3 lives, and there is no substitute for human blood. And you can't predict that need. You need to have the blood on the shelf ready to go when that person needs it. And in the summer months, in June, July, and August, we are seeing about 2 fewer donors than what that blood drive is goaled at and what that hospital need is. So we're asking people to come out. We want to see over two people over a goal that come out and donate, because we want to keep the blood supply stocked for anyone who needs it.
Absolutely. Okay, so you have to be at least 17 or 16 with permission. You can be, the upward age is negligible. And now, how often can they donate?
You can donate blood every 56 days or 6 times a year. So roughly every 2 months you can donate blood. And we have this great procedure called double red cell machines. And a double red machine is, you're able to give the equivalent of 2 donations in one swoop. And you only have to come out every 112 days. And so it takes about 20 minutes longer, and we're going to give you saline back, and we're going to give you all your other blood components back, your plasma and your platelets. And you can donate less frequently, and we're asking for blood types like the O positive, O negative, B negative, those more critical blood types on that type of procedure.
Now, if someone is listening right now and they want to donate, is there a way for them to find out a list of the blood drives, or can they just go down to the Red Cross Center at any time and donate?
I would just encourage people. I always say walk-ins are welcome, like I said earlier, but I always think it's great to make an appointment. Just like life is so busy that, make an appointment like you would getting your hair cut or your dentist appointment, and you can go to redcrossblood.org and you can type in your zip code, or you can call 1-800-RED-CROSS, and we can find a blood drive that's near your church, your school, your work, your neighborhood, wherever you need it to be. And if there isn't one that's convenient, I promise one is coming up, because we run blood drives every single day, and so we're constantly collecting throughout the area.
So your scheduler must be very busy.
Yeah, they're very busy. Our donor recruitment team is amazing, and they're always, every day is fresh, trying to find, new blood drives and help stock the blood supply.
Okay, and just to drive home sort of the need for that, can you think of some real life examples of when there have been just an outpouring of blood and how that happened?
It's so funny, because people will approach me here and there and they'll tell me their story, and so it is so much more common than you think. But we've had some extreme examples where someone has needed 100 pints of blood, and a trauma patient. You cannot predict that need, and that blood, I can't stress enough, that blood needs to be on the shelf ready to go when that patient needs it. And my father has been a lifelong blood donor, and I remember as a kid he'd come home with a little Red Cross pin, and he had a routine surgery several years ago, and he needed blood. So it kind of came full circle. And it's just, it's so much more common. Again, I know I keep saying that, but it really is true, that you just can't predict that need, and it's got to be ready to go.
Now, what would you say to someone who is afraid of needles, or they're afraid of the process? How would you encourage them to conquer that fear?
It's funny, because our 2 biggest reasons for people not donating are, 1, they're afraid of needles, and 2, they haven't been asked. So I'm asking everyone, come out and donate, bring a friend.
So we got that one
Yes,
covered.
that one's covered. But for the needles, we all know that if someone we loved needed blood, we would do this. And we would knock on the door of everyone in the neighborhood. We would, encourage people, come out, my loved one needs blood. And I would just say, make sure that blood is available for someone else's loved one, because you don't know when you or someone you love will need blood. It's just such an important thing to do, and you feel amazing when you donate blood. You feel like, today I made a difference. Today, I helped save a life, and I can't think of a better thing to do.
Well, Kristen, you have given us a lot of information, and I do encourage people to go to the website and go and find out about these blood drives, and to actually sign up. This is Joy in Our Town. I'm Ferrell, Tata, your host, and this is my lovely guest, Kristen Hatfield from the American Red Cross Mid-Atlantic region, and we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to switch gears a little bit and talk about platelets. Hello, welcome back to Joy in Our Town. I'm Ferrell, Tata, your host, and I've been here talking today with Kristen Hatfield from the American Red Cross Mid-Atlantic Blood Services, and we've been talking about blood drives, and now we're going to switch gears and talk about platelets. Our issue is health, and our topic is platelets donations. So can you talk about sort of the difference between platelets and blood and plasma? Talk about break that down for us.
Sure, sure. When you donate blood, your donations are separated into three components: your plasma, your platelets, and your red blood cells. And we also offer platelet donation, and platelets are the clotting factor in your blood. And when you donate platelets, we're getting like more of a volume of it, so it can actually be used for more transfusions. So platelets, again, are that clotting factor in your blood, and we have a special automated process where you can donate, and it's a nice process too.
And then what is plasma? And why? I remember in college, some of my friends would sell their plasma. Why? What is that about?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, plasma," because people will confuse plasma and platelets. Plasma, a lot of times, the transfusions for plasma are for people like burn victims, and for platelets, you're going to find like the primary use will be for people who have cancer or leukemia, and red blood cells, you're going to have that like for transfusions, like people who suffer from sickle cell anemia when they're going through a crisis will need that transfusion, and they tell me they're like the Energizer bunny. Routine surgeries, trauma patients, premature infants, that sort of thing. So they're all slightly different.
Now, is the criteria for donating platelets the same as the regular blood?
Mostly it is the same. They're going to ask you a few questions, like you can't have aspirin before you come out and donate platelets. They're going to want to make sure you have a higher platelet count that you can do this. And the one other major difference between platelets and red blood cells is that you have to make an appointment ahead of time. And the process is a little bit different. It's as far as time and the procedure itself. But they'll talk to you on the phone and ask you some questions. And I'm hoping that some people will be interested and just want to call and get more information, because it is a wonderful way to give back and help others.
So is the process, does it take a little bit longer, or so it's a longer process?
It is a longer process, and we collect in a couple locations in Hampton Roads, and from start to finish, it's going to take about 2 hours. But I'll tell you, donating platelets is a wonderful way to give back. The primary use, again, is for cancer and leukemia patients, and it takes about a few hours, as opposed to whole blood taking about an hour. And I think it's great because we have some great distractions for you while you come out and donate. We've got the up-to-date movies, really good up-to-date movies. We've got free Wi-Fi, Netflix at one of our facilities. We have a coffee bar. We've got some great snacks. We'll bring you a blanket, and you can read. You can, some of our donors even sleep. But I think it's, as a busy mom of 3, I think it's a time for you to just kind of stop. Life is so busy and so hectic that platelet donation gives you an opportunity to just stop for a minute and donate and help save a life. And my husband is a great platelet donor, and he always feels kind of guilty because he's not helping with the homework and the baths and all that. But I love it because he's helping to save a life, and that's so important. And he also says, I'm never going to the movies again, Kristen, because I'm going to go to Red Cross. They have great movies. I can help save a life. Why would I go somewhere else? So yeah, it's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
And I even joke, or some of us at the Red Cross joke, that it's like a spa day for a mom. Again, just that time to sit, and you're helping to save a life. You're sitting there, you're comfortable, nice blanket, great, a movie. Who gets to watch a movie as a mom? So it's a wonderful thing to do, and that feeling is amazing.
So now, do they have platelet drives just like they do blood drives, or do you have to go to the center to actually donate the platelets?
That's a great question. I know some other cities actually have like a platelet mobile, which is kind of neat, but we don't have that here. We have a donor center in Virginia Beach, right behind Pembroke Mall by Target, and we also have another one in Norfolk at 250 West Brambleton, and that one's open 7 days a week, and we have ample parking. And so we have our facilities set up so you can come in. Everything's all hooked up, ready to go, but we don't do a mobile service like with whole blood and the blood drives.
And at the regular blood drives, just as far as letting people know what your need is and how it works, at the blood drives, do they have a sign that asks us about platelets, or how do people find out about it? Sometimes
if someone appears to be like a good candidate for platelets, they'll give them a call and let them know, hey, you have a great, high platelet count, or you're a great blood type for this. And one thing about platelets, where you heard me saying that O negative is great blood type because it has those universal qualities, same thing with O positive, that's that holds true with a different blood type or different set of blood types for platelets. AB positive, if you're listening and you're watching and you're AB positive, it makes up about 3% of the population. And that is a blood type where it has those universal qualities. And the same with A positive is a very good fit for platelets. So it's kind of, we want to make sure that you have that right type, the donation that suits you best, or we'd love it if you did both platelets and whole blood. But for platelets, great candidates. We do need all blood types, so if you're O negative, don't let that dissuade you. We still would love for you to become a platelet donor because the best match, for someone is clearly what their blood type is.
Is the shelf life about the same as the blood?
This is what will be kind of jarring, or I think it's jarring. For platelets, the shelf life is 5 days, and for whole blood, it's 42 days. So it's much shorter. So we have to test that. We have to, get that donation, test it, get it off to the hospital. And the other unique thing about platelets have to keep moving to keep the integrity of the product. So we have a little agitator. So once you donate, it's going to go on there and move. And so it's just, we have to keep that ready to go and in pristine condition for that patient.
Do you keep a list of people for emergency situations that you can call to get them to come in and donate platelets?
I think they do, like a good match for them. I know that several months ago, we had this wonderful donor that would come in. There was a little girl that he was a great fit for, and she needed ongoing platelet transfusions, and he came in, and it was nice to attach that personal story, and he was real happy to do it for her. But yes, I think, that right mix, that right type is very important.
And now you can't donate platelets and blood at the same time. Is that right? You have to do.
Yes, 2 separate times, but and there's a certain window after you donate platelets or red blood cells, and they'll tell you, like, if you come out and donate platelets, they'll say, here's when you can donate whole blood again. And the same with platelets, they'll let you know when it's good for you and safe for you to come out and donate one more, for that other type of donation. And platelet donors can come out every 7 days, up to 24 times a year, versus that, you heard me say, roughly every 2 months for blood donors, and that's 6 times a year. So it's kind of amazing. And a lot of our platelet donors have become platelet donors because they've heard of a personal story or have been impacted or affected by someone who needed platelets. So they've heard about the need, because a lot of people don't know that you can donate platelets. I think people associate Red Cross with, we know blood drives, but platelets are such a unique, donation, and that it's, you have to come to us in 2 locations that we have here. It's not, 10 to 20 blood drives every day. So, but it's such an important donation. I can't stress it enough.
Now, what are the, you mentioned at some point the comfy platelet beds. What are those?
Yes. Oh my gosh, they're so comfortable. They're these great leather beds. And again, we'll bring you that nice, comfy, cozy blanket. We'll bring you snacks. It's a really nice process to donate platelets. And I just can't stress it enough, that nice time to sit. And we're all so busy, and and our platelet staff is amazing. A lot of them have been there a long time. They know many of the donors by name, and they're just wonderful personalities and just a great, hardworking group. And
can you talk during it? Is there sort of like a therapy session?
You can talk to us.
Therapists?
Yes, and if I always tell people too. You asked me earlier. If somebody's afraid of needles, tell that phlebotomist that, hey, I'm really nervous about needles, and that's okay.
Right.
They'll distract you. You can bring a book.
Watch a movie.
Watch that movie. Just kind of
eat popcorn while you're...
Yeah. We'll give you delicious Keebler cookies that they donate to us, which are fabulous, by the way. Lots of good flavors.
So we're about out of time, but before we go, can you think of a platelet emergency, an emergency when somebody just really needed and you were able to provide for them?
I can give you a great example to kind of wrap everything up. We had a mom that when she was giving birth to her 2nd child, it kind of went into an emergency state, and she had preeclampsia. And so she went to the hospital, and before she could deliver her son prematurely, she had to have platelets. So she needed platelets, and then he needed red blood cells or whole blood. And so he was in the hospital for several months. So it just, and she's a huge advocate of ours and always wants to share her story. And she, has seen firsthand how platelets and blood can help save lives.
Okay, well, Kristen, I can't thank you enough because this is so important, and all of us have been touched by people that have needed blood in the past. So before I let you go, though, I'd love for you to say your website and contact of how people, if they want to sign up for a blood drive, how they can do that.
Sure. If you're interested in platelet donations, you can call 757-623-4880. If that went too fast, you can go to redcrossblood.org and you can shoot us an email, say, hey, I want more information, or you could call us at 1-800-RED-CROSS. And you can also find blood drive information and platelet information.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. And this is Joy in Our Town. We've been with Kristen Hatfield of the American Red Cross. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ferrell, Tata.
This program has been sponsored by the Trinity Broadcasting Network and made possible by your telethon dollars. Your continual support can keep Joy in Our Town brought to your home every day. So write Joy in Our Town, P.O. Box A, Santa Ana, California, 92711.